As ESR starts its 5th season of GT3 racing, we open a new series of touring car racing. 3 manufacturers and 10 circuits from across Europe and the US. Here's a little bit of what to expect in this upcoming season here at Evolution Sim Racing TCR Season 1. Good evening everybody and welcome along to round 7 of the Evolution Sim Racing Touring Car Championship live at yet another absolutely cracking circuit, once again remaining in Italy for the 3rd time so far this season. Tonight at the Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari here in Imola, once the host to the San Marino Grand Prix. Only a short hour's drive northeast from the Circuit de Mugello from last week, before we arrive here for this 4.9 kilometer circuit consisting of 19 corners, 9 to the right and 10 to the left, with a mixture of both high-speed undulation throughout the technical Acqua Minerale section as well as high-speed variante chicanes. My name is Joseph Glass and as always I'm very much looking forward to going racing once again here tonight as we approach the business end of the season, with only 3 rounds remaining following the closure of tonight's proceedings. It won't be long before we are underway for the start of our close qualifying session. But before that, let's take a look at the sponsors for the series here at Evolution Sim Racing Touring Car Championships. Up first, as always, it's Kame, the home and building automation experts, providing integrated high-tech solutions for private homes, public venues and urban spaces. The GP2 Group, a management consultancy firm specialising in business acquisitions, property management and developments. AB Designs, bespoke sim racing liveries which are designed to your specifications across all the leading sim racing titles including iRacing and ACC. And Get Good, offering guidance and coaching via a new online self-paced learning package which is accessible, in-depth and effective. So if you're interested in improving your iRating, be sure to get in touch with the links available in the ESR Discord server. And as always, we can hear a little bit more about this from Marianne himself over at Get Good Racing.
Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out getgoodracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the Get Good course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Okie dokie then, so after hearing that message, which is always well received, it's time to review the standings after 6 rounds raced before we get on with the 7th here tonight. So first, a recap of the Pro Class standings. As you might have expected, Wojtek Sredovic continues to lead the way. That record, I think, speaks for himself. The final round last week was his worst, actually, of the season so far down there in P10. He had that crash coming out of turn 3 or 4 around Mugello, which sent him all the way to the back of the pack, and he was able to recover that with a P10 finish. But podiums galore for Wojtek throughout the rest of the season. I'm sure he will try to continue that. Matthias Penteler still in with a shout. He's 67 points behind in P2. He has also had a fair share of podiums. He also found himself in P11 this time last week, but he was unable to finish one of the races in the 5th round, which hasn't helped his point scoring at all. Luke Lucchese still remains in the top 3. Those 3 unchanged, and they've been unchanged for some time. He with 513 points, scoring quite well this time last week around Mugello. Duncan Kirby stays in P4 as well. He was unable to get into the top 5 last week, and a poor time all the same around the Nürburgring in round 5, but he has held on to what he has. 66 points away from Lucchese, with a nice margin down there to Jeremy Chioka. Jeremy Chioka has moved up from P6 and now finds himself ahead of Yayan on 399 points, the first man in the G League car. Jan Stitchbury in P6, only 1 point behind Jeremy, so keep a keen eye on those guys because those places could quite easily switch even after the first round tonight. Jimmy Vyman in P7, he remains, actually no he doesn't, he swapped places with Ryan Otten, so he and Ryan and Jeremy and Yayan all swapping places from where we picked them up last week. A P7 and a P5 for Vyman last week. With Ryan Ottens, the Alpha 1 esports driver with 338 points, 40 behind P7, but still in a very, very good position to get himself on, get his hands, on one of those driver trophies come the end of the season. Paul Cowlishaw in P9 for Suma GP2 Hyundai, and Johan Ferry rounding off the top 10. As you can see, only 17 points really separating him up to Mr. Ottens there in P8. James Holman has burst onto the scene. He missed quite a few of the rounds. He's actually only competed in 3 so far, but when he has, he's always come across the line first in at least one of those races, so he could mount a late charge. He's got 4 weeks left to do it, so it's not all gone just yet. Matt Hoyland, the last on this table in P12. He was, I was going to say unavailable, but no, he wasn't. He was around this time last week. No, he didn't. What am I reading here? He missed the round last week, as I thought. Wasn't there, and he'll be wanting to get back into the top 10. It's been quite a while since he had those 3 P7 finishes. It's been a while since he got himself into the top 10. Over to the AM class next. Same again, really. It's the top 3 who've held on to the same positions. It's James Howarth in P1, 556 points. 2 race victories to his name last week. But again, similar to Wojtek, got caught up. In fact, it might have been those two getting caught up together on the exit of turn 3 around Mugello last week, and that saw him finish P13 in class. James Bostock, 37 points behind. He got himself up on the podium last week and a couple of strong results. No worse than a P8 for him last week, so he hangs on to P2, but only a 20-point margin down there to Andrew Fellows. Andrew, unfortunately, had his worst week of the season so far last week for Sapphire Sim Sports, but not out of it yet. Only 20 points behind Bostock, which is less than half a race, really. Rob Smith next up in P4. I think he's moved up from P6, so it was a great round for him last week, a P7, a P2 and a P4. So Rob moves himself up 2 places in the championship order. He lodges Daniel down 1 position. He was in P4, now finds himself in P5 on 432 points. Max Nevincharny has moved up 1 place as well. He was in P7, now in P6, 414 points, only 18 away from the top 5. Something that Max will for sure have his eyes on before the end of the season. Really, the top 3 is still to play for, but if the form's to go by, that probably won't change. So Max slowly edging away toward the top of the standings. Gareth Newton, a shame for him last week. 2 P10s and a DNF demote him from P5 down to P7. And Huss remains where he was. Hussein Sadaka-Desler, P6, 5 and 9 on 401 points, just 2 points off of P7. He holds firm in P8. Rob Mackay the same. He's not with us this evening, but he's with us in chat. I hope everything is going well for you, Rob. He stayed actually in P9, even though he had his best result of the season. He got himself a podium. I think that's Brands Hatch was round 2. And now he converted that race victory. And he took the race lead away from, I believe it was Oliver Lumsden, through turns 6 and 7 on the final lap, which we caught after the race had finished. And it was a great result for Mr. Mackay. So he holds on to P9 for now, with a 35-point gap to Robin Aston, who moves up from P12. So he is now in a position to get himself one of those driver trophies. But that might not last long if Oliver Lumsden has anything to say about it. He would have been annoyed to have lost that race victory right at the end of the final round last week. But nonetheless, a P2 keeps him in good stead to try and get into the top 10. Francois Brandet slowly falling away, 326 points. He needs a strong result tonight if he's going to stay within touching distance of that top 10. Taking a look at the team's championship then, Suma GP2 Honda continue to lead the way. Those guys have been in that position for some weeks now. RD Simsports moves up. They were in P3 this time last week. They have dislodged both Flatline and DXT Audi. And now the team of Pentela, Holman and Sutherland move themselves up and within 100 points of the team's standings lead. Flatline Racing also move ahead of the DXT Audi team. Rob Smith, Daniel Saunders and Oliver Lumsden with 1,035 points. So again, nothing said and done really for any of these top 4 teams. With Hoyland having missed the round last week, it was all on Francois and Howarth. I don't believe Francois had the best round. He was vocal about that after the race, but they'll be hoping to stay within touching distance. Again, not far behind the top 3, and if the top 3 aren't behind first, then 4th is definitely still in for a chance. G-League doing so well to be the only 2-man army in the top 9, and they've been comfortable in P5 for pretty much the entire season. They soon could be getting overtaken by RDSA Esports, who've got reinforcements now, with Yuri Swart and Willem Boyter joining Luke Lucchese in those white machines. Different colours for each driver. The RDSA colours of the black and the white, 801 points. Only 54 away from the top 5. The sister team, the GP2 Hyundai team of Proctor, Cowlishaw and Aston, closely followed behind them with the Octane guys. DXT Honda and MRC and Brooks Racing Development again. Those guys falling away. Jakes and Matthews might well cling on to the top 10. But really, it's all eyes on the top 9 if any of those guys can pull off a miraculous turnaround and get themselves into the top 5 come the end of the season. And finally then, a quick look at the incident ratings. Again, this calculated by the total number of races attended divided by the total incident points gathered, I guess you could say, to come out with an incident score. And the lowest 3 drivers, the lowest scoring 3 drivers, therefore the cleanest, will come away with a $15 voucher to be spent on the iRacing platform. So at the moment, that's Wojtek Sredovic, Jan Stitchbury and Matthias Pentela for the Pro Class, with Robin Aston, Max Nevincharny and Andrew Fellows in the AM Class. Vyman and Newton very, very close behind. And in fact, should it be the other way around there? Should, oh no, the average. Never mind. All good. Anyway, that's the formalities out the way with, so we can now head back to trackside. And just again, we join the drivers right at the end of this session as one of the DXT guys goes flying past. That could be Francois as he comes flying around the corner. In fact, no, it wasn't. It was Matt Hoyland. So that is the session concluded for practice. And now the drivers head into the closed qualifying session. 4 laps to set the fastest lap time that they can. On a private track, they all set their lap times at the same time. So we'll see those coming in as the drivers head around the circuit. We have a debutant here tonight. Carl Jacolet, I think I'm going to go with, or Jacolet, but I'll say Jacolet just to be safe for now, and he can correct me if I'm wrong. So he joined earlier in the week, and he will be making his ESR debut. You can ride on with him as he makes his way around. It's a red and white Logitech livery for Carl. As he heads through the Tamburello chicane, turns 2, 3 and 4. It's actually the kink earlier on down the start-finish straight that is turn 1 here at Imola. So it's 2, 3, 4 is the first significant corner that these guys have to tackle on the lap before heading through the Variante Villeneuve as the track heads uphill for turn 7 at Tosa. Quite a tricky slow speed left-hander down through the pretty flat kink at turn 8, which he's approaching now before the Peritella. Wojtek already making his way through 11, 12 and 13, the Acqua Minerale section. And uphill toward the Variante Alta. Breaking down for a very slow speed chicane, probably the slowest minimum speeds on the circuit, I would guess. Although you can launch the car over the entry and the exit curbs before heading down to 16, 17 and 18, the downhill section over the Ravazza, under the bridge, braking probably just before that line, in fact well before that line, and into the double left-hander before they cross through turn 19, the kink. And that's right on board then with the Pro Class Championship leader as he sets away. He takes a wide berth across the start-finish line to carry as much speed over the line as he can, and there he goes. He'll cut back across and narrowly avoid that inside kink at turn 1 to start his first flying lap. Heading down now towards the Variante Tamburello and braking. Let's see, is he going to avoid the sausage? No, he hits his left tyre over both sausage and the right, and then kinks it through pretty much flat out after he hit that first apex. And let's see how he handles Villeneuve here. Early on the brakes into third gear, keeping it tight over to the left and shifting the weight back over to the right, using all the track on the exit. And now is he going to keep it tight to the apex? Yes, he does. Slingshot around and using the exit curve. Still going uphill, tough on the car over here until he reaches the crest at Pilatella, and then it's all downhill from there. Now through one of the best complexes in my opinion, the Acqua Minerale. Very tricky in some different kinds of cars. The first time I'm watching a touring car go through this section, but you can imagine the speed difference when it comes to the likes of GT3 or the Formula single-seaters. They absolutely fly through there. Flat out sometimes through the first kink, and then you just got to get it slowed down in time for the uphill section of 12 and 13. Nicely through the Variante Alta. And we'll see what the provisional pole time is going to be as Wojtek comes through. Wojtek comes around the final corner. Is he going to be the first man to post a time? I think he will be. Ryan Ottens will not be far behind. It's a 1:53.9 as the current provisional pole time. Ryan Ottens, no time on the board. He has crossed the line, so his first lap would have been invalidated. James Holman, Johan Furey crossed the line with a 54.0 and a 54.5, so quite close between he and Holman, but nearly 5/10, I was going to say, half a second down to Johan Furey. Daniel Saunders then currently leading the way in the AM class. And Max Nevincharny just 2/10 off. Let's get a look at the gap so that we can see. And let's put it by class so we can see that as well. Daniel Saunders, Max Nevincharny and Hussein Sarakadesla within 4/10 of one another. And Matthias Penteler, the man who was going toe-to-toe with Wojtek this time last week in the opening round at Mugello, now 2.5 down. A reminder as well, I forgot to mention, the championship leader in the AM class, James Howarth, unfortunately having to sit in the pit lane to serve his qualifying ban for an accumulation of license points throughout incidents over the course of the last few races. So that does not bode well for him. Bostock will be rubbing his hands together at the thought of potentially gaining some ground on Howarth ahead of the final 3 rounds of the season. And Max Nevincharny has shown some great form. He won twice around the Nürburgring and got caught up with a pro driver in the final race. He was on for a 3rd win. Don't think he got any wins this time last week, so let's see how he gets on. As he sends it through the outer chicane. And gets his foot through the floor again, heading now down toward turn 16. Fewer drivers with us tonight. Unfortunately, I think as the championship kind of comes to a close, those who aren't fighting for anything tend not to show up. Wojtek has gone across the line to improve by 1/10 of a second. He's now on a 53.8. Let's see where is Holman. He's just crossed the line as well, but didn't improve. Johan Faree does improve, but still 2/10 off. And Matthias Penteler will soon be crossing the line, so we'll ride on with him. But for now, Max Nevincharny has improved in the 3rd sector. Is that going to be enough to put him up? No, it's not. What about Penteler? Here he comes across the line now. I'm not sure that's an improvement for Penteler either. Wojtek has set the fastest purple sectors in Sector 1 and Sector 2. So he's on a flying lap. He made a mistake in Sector 3, I believe. Here's Hoyland. He puts himself into the 55.2s as he sets off on his penultimate lap. Let's ride on with Matt as he heads through Sector 1. Ooh, that was very tight there. Could have been an off track, but he's still going. Still flat out, and he too, just like Wojtek, keeps it very tight to the inside there. Runs wide. Hoyland has set a Sector 1 best, but not a Sector 2 best. Purple sectors all around for Wojtek as he crosses the line. Is it going to be an improved time? It's a 53.8 at the moment, and it's a 53.6. Again, nearly half a second separating him and his nearest competition. Hoyland absolutely sent it over the inside curve there at Aquinamarani. That could have gained us some time. Let's see if he's got the 2/10 in pocket to overtake Duncan Kirby for P7. Mark Proctor has just put himself on the board. And Robin Aston has come across the line to clutch provisional pole for the AM class with a 55.0. And Mr. Ian Stitchbury also struggling to put a lap together. He is about to commence his final lap and he's yet to get a clean time. So Hoyland then comes around the final corner. Is it going to be an improvement? Did he pick up an off track at some point during that lap? Let's see. He'll keep it tight over the green stuff all the way down toward the line. Ian does get that lap in and it's a lap good enough for P7. What about Hoyland? No improvement there for Matt. Matthias Penteler has taken Holman, but still 3/3 away from Wojtek. So seemingly normal service resumed after Matthias was able to steal away the front row of the grid this time last week, and Luke Lucchese has come in out of nowhere and taken the provisional front row away from Penteler. But as Penteler comes around the final, well, he comes into the middle part of the track, actually, not the final corner, the middle part of the circuit. Is he going to have a response here on what will be, I think, his final lap? Lucchese will have one more under the belt after this one. And Wojtek is about to cross the line. Is he going to improve? Once again, it's a 53.6, and he does into the 53.5s. That is one hell of a clean qualifying session for the current, well, I was going to say champion. He's not a champion yet, but the man who leads the way in the pro class. It's going to be a 53.5 to beat. Here is Pentela now, 3:16, 17, and 18. This is going to conclude for Pentela. Can he dislodge? Oh, he's in the pit lane. No improvements for Pentela. Comes down to Lucchese as to whether someone is going to be able to disrupt Wojtek. Lucchese has the fastest Sector 5 time, but he hasn't reached that yet, so that will be from his previous lap. And it doesn't look like he's up in any sector according to these timing sheets. Duncan Kirby is finished and he promotes himself and demotes Yai, and it's a 54, well, I'd say 4, but close to a 5. In a P7 for the Steel River Sims driver of Duncan Kirby. And nearly a second there, separating the top 8. And look at that, Robin Aston, 1.1 seconds clear of his nearest class rival of Daniel Saunders. So them two will take the provisional front row in the AM class as Luke Lucchese crosses the line. Is it going to be enough? Something tells me it won't. And I don't think Luke has improved. He does still have one more lap under his belt, and crucially, he has enough time to get a lap set. Jan Stitchbury commences. No, he doesn't. He still had one lap to go, but he's coming to the pit lane. And it's Dennis Collar who is the final man on the circuit down there in P7 in the AM class. That's right on board with Lucchese, who runs off wide, doesn't quite get in the gravel, and that's Lucchese done. That will have been an invalid lap time. What about Collar? Where is he? In one of the Hyundai cars for Spondex CDM Esports, breaking now down into the Ravazza. And Dennis could well go on one more flying lap here, but let's see. He only needs 3/100ths of a second to put himself into the top 6. Is he going to get it? No. No improvement on that lap for Dennis. And it's all eyes on this man then. Everybody else is done. And if he can get himself 3/10ths, he'll be into the top 5 and he'll demote Sarakadesla down into P6. How about the debutant for Carl Jacquelet? Yeah, I'm going to go with Jacquelet. I think that's safe enough. Not great for him. 2.2 seconds off the pace down there in P13. But a steady opening round. Keep yourself clean and away from incidents is a good way to bet in to a new championship. And, you know, he won't have any expectation having joined more than halfway through the season. So he can prepare himself ahead of the second season. Through Piratella. Not a great qualifying for James Bostock either, the driver in P2 in the championship. I don't think qualifying is exactly his strong suit. We've seen the last few rounds, he is the one who makes up the most positions gained. Usually keeps it quite clean, and he could find himself towards the top 5 in no time if he gets himself a good getaway in our standing starts. Format for tonight, as always, 3 20-minute sprint races. The first of which determined by the qualifying result. The second will shuffle the top 10, meaning that P1 will start the second race in P10 and vice versa. And the final race will be reverse 15, meaning the man who finishes in P1 will start the third race in P15 and vice versa. And as Dennis Collar crosses the line, he does do enough to improve by just around 0.2 of a second. Not enough to budge Hussein away from the top 5, but enough to put himself on the third row of the grid in P6 with just 30 seconds before we end the session. Thanks to Dennis for coming out late so that we didn't have 4 minutes to kill without anybody on track. Okay, the grid then for this evening. Wojtek Sviridovich, the man again on pole position, a time of a 1:53.570, 3/10 ahead of Luke Lucchesi for RDSA Esports, who will share the front row of the grid. Mateusz Penteler in P3 with James Holman in P4 on the second row with Johan Furrie and Ryan Ottens rounding off the top 6. Duncan Kirby and Jan Stitchbury the top 8 with Robin Aston on on pole position actually for the AM class. Quite a way and quite a distance from the rest of his class. Matt Hoyland rounding off the top 10 with Jimmy Vyman and Jeremy Chioka for G League starting side by side. Rob Smith in P2 in the AM class. P13 overall with Rob Sutherland in P14. Carl Jacquelet and Daniel Saunders in P15 and 16. Max Nevinciani, Mark Proctor, Hussein Sarkadesla and Dennis Collar rounding off the top 20. With Steve Rubino, James Bostock, Danny Weir, Oliver Lumsden and Mark Wesley down there in P25, and James Howarth served his qualifying ban. Will start at the back of the grid. So all the cars gridding up ahead of this first 20-minute sprint race will be underway very, very shortly. A few grid spots left to be filled down there. And then it will be flat out to the line, no mandatory pit stops. And it will be dry throughout the race, so pretty consistent conditions all night and all season for these drivers. And here we go then. We have the lights, and it's over to Wojtek Sviridovich to get us underway. There's a blinking DXT car back there. And it looks as though they've all got away pretty well. James Holman comes over to the left-hand side to defend against Johan Furrie, and Luke Lucchesi already putting himself alongside the outside line of Wojtek Sviridovich. But Wojtek leads through the first set of chicanes. Then it's Lucchesi, then Penteler, Holman. Ottens has got past Furrie, but Furrie is up the inside. And Duncan Kirby in there, slipping up the rear. There's Matt Hoyland, closely followed by Jeremy Chioka. That should round off the top 10. Ryan Ottens has had a drama. He's just got himself in the gravel there, but rejoined safely ahead of Kirby. And what's happening further down the pack? There's the other flatline cars coming through now. Mark and Carla Shaw. And there's Bostock and Hussein Sarakadesla near Dennis Collar. Jan Stitchbury is already out of the race. He jumped back to the pit lane, so we'll have to go and see if we can figure out what happened to Jan. But mostly very, very clean in the opening lap here, as Wojtek looks to extend that margin to Lucchesi, but he's got him very close for company as they head through the Variante Alta for the first time. Top 4 immediately separating themselves here. Let's go to the interval times, and you can see it's a huge gap already of 2 seconds down to after Holman down to Kirby. Wojtek leads them across the line. Then it's Lucchesi, Penteler and Holman, and then it's the pack of Kirby, Furrie and Vyman. Let's go back and see what happened to Jan, who got passed right at the start by Aston. Is it even off the line here? Does Jan just fail to get away? I'm looking at the back, I can't really tell. Is anybody stationary there? Let's see, where is Jan? No eyes on Yain at the moment. I'm trying to pick out his car, but I don't see him. But Yain back in the pits, and I think he's out on track. He's just a lap down, so he'll be getting some valuable data where hopefully he can recover ahead of the second and third race. So Robin Aston leads the way, as you might expect, and he's got a 6-second gap. Who's that with a slowdown? Up the inside, is that Hussein? No, it's Mark Proctor, who got himself a slowdown. Looks like maybe... I'm not sure. Would he have got that at the very anti-Villeneuve, perhaps, and it's carried him all the way through the Piratella. DXT car going very wide there. Kirby might be having a bit of a problem, yes. He's gone off through Aqua Minerale. And let's see what went wrong for Duncan there. He's got Furry up his inside, who backs out, and it's just... Does he just lost the car? Yep. He's got left lock on. Oh my god, look at that. He's kept it out the wall and right onto the escape road. And rejoins well enough. Good job by Duncan there to keep it out of the wall, and immediately putting pressure on Jeremy Chioka. Dennis Collar now moving up the inside of Hussein Sarakadesla, and he gets that move done. Hussein could be under pressure from losing a position to Nevin Charney now. And he has. That's 2 positions lost in a matter of corners for Hussein. And who's this? Oliver has the run. And he's got the inside line, actually, crucially, going into the Variante Tamburello. And disastrous few corners there for Hussein, who's down another position, but he switches it back. Is he going to lunge? No. He thinks better of it, and he's got his teammate there. I think that's Proctor, out of class. Oh, and there could be contact there. No, no contact. Seemed very close between the 2 Suma sister cars. Sutherland now all over the back of Carl in the battle for P10 in the Pro class. And that good battle that we've just cut away from with Sarakadesla, Proctor, Rubino, Howarth, Bostock and Weir. 6 or 7 cars sharing a couple of seconds on the circuit. Luke Lucchese so far sticking with Wojtek at the front, and that gap has extended to Penciller, 1.2 seconds. He's under pressure. Oh, and who's that round? There's Carl. Is he going to do what Duncan could do? Oh, just about. That'll be okay. Slight contact on the rear left. Hopefully that doesn't affect the steering too much. The car looks okay. Let's see how he gets on through the chicane. Let's see if he gets a wobble on. Looks okay. So a lucky escape there for Carl. A definitely learning exercise for him tonight. And Kirby has got past Chioka. Let's see how that was done. Up and over the curb. Ah, it's a mistake by Chioka. Just offsets his line. He rejoins safely. Kirby gives him the space to do so, but he gets that move done nice and easily. Owens Huss is losing another position. Same corner. Oh, he's got it back though, and he's got the run now on Steve Rubino, and Huss comes across aggressively there, as if to give Steve pretty much no room to maneuver. And now he's all up in his mirrors, switching from the left to the right, and Huss comes across to defend. He can't really make another move, and he's defending now against one of the DXT machines. That's James Howarth, the championship leader, who I'm sure will have the pace over these guys, and Huss has got himself away. Rubino has lost that position, and there's the 55 machine. That's Danny Weir, who's putting pressure under James Bostock, who could all of a sudden find himself down the order if he's not careful. And really, it's these guys, and then a massive gap of 8.6 seconds down to Mark Wesley. Huss under all sorts of pressure there, but I think he might have a bit of respite at the moment. Let's catch up with the guys at the front. Margins pretty much the same as they were. 7 minutes gone. 13 remain, and Wojtek leads, but Lucchese could be gaining here. He is gaining. He's got a better run out of the Alta chicane. But I'd be surprised if he puts a move in here. No, he'll probably look to get the run at some point. Stay in the slipstream of Svidovic. Howarth down. Let's see what's happened here. No one's spun. Howarth has just lost those positions. Let's see what happened. Did he get something wrong here? Yeah, I think that's him this there. I think he got the chicane all wrong. Let's just see from the angle of Rubino. Yeah, I think Howard has had a mistake there coming out of the Aqua Minerale. Oh, he's got a slow down actually. Oh, and very close there by Rubino. Not much room left with the car up the inside. That's Bostock. Very battling down there, but unfortunate for Howarth, who had the pace, and he still has the pace. Still got over half the race remaining. Wow, look at that margin. Robin Aston, 10 seconds clear. He is checking out of this class. He finds himself in between Kirby and Sutherland, who are battling for P8 in the Pro class, but with a few seconds separating them. They'll be in clean air mostly. Dennis Collar, what could be his best finish of the season if he can hang on to it. And he slaps it over that curb. That'll have unsettled the car a little bit. But it seems as though he's got a little bit of a run. Not enough to send it up the inside of the Aqua Minerale section. We're putting Daniel Saunders under all sorts of pressure, and that looked a little bit slow by Saunders on the exit there. But he's defending the inside line appropriately. Matt Hoyland under pressure from Duncan Kirby. Just had to let off a little bit there, Duncan. It's upset him ever so slightly. He's going to get the run. That's a tyre in the gravel, which will slow Hoyland down, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to see him lose that position. It doesn't look like Duncan's gaining all that much, and Dennis Collar has got past, and Saunders is fully round. Let's go back and see if there was any contact here. Let's see, is he going to lose it of his own accord? No, Dennis has just punted him round, and he takes that position up into P2. This pack is pretty dangerous, and Proctor is keeping himself nicely out the way of it. But Lumsden wide there, that might open the door for Nevin Charney. Bostock thinking about which way to, Hussein thinking about which way to go. Nevin Charney wide. Oh God, Oliver is coming across to defend the inside line. But Huss might think twice about this. It's not going to be 3 wide, is it surely? No. Oh, and Lumsden's gone wide. He had pressure from Hussein in behind, and he's dropped himself now down 3 places. Hussein leads Bostock, leads Nevin Charney as they head through Aqua Minerale. Let's see what the teammates are seeing. Huss moves over to defend the inside line. Bostock surely not going to be able to hang around the outside of this tight chicane, and Huss lets him through. Team orders into play there, braking very, very early on the inside line. And Huss letting his championship challenging teammate take that position. Kirby has just got past Matt Hoyland for P7. Let's see how he did it. In the downhill section, is this toward the Riviats? No, it's through the chicane. Kirby up the inside of Hoyland through the chicane and gets that move done nice and easily. Oh, Luke Lucchese. Luke Lucchese has taken the lead of the race. Let's see. That must have happened quite a while ago. That happened on the previous lap. Let's go back and see that, because that is a big, big move. It's coming up the uphill section through Tosa. Oh, it's a slowdown. It's a slowdown, and Luke Lucchese has been gifted the race lead. And I think Wojtek has been able to serve that strategically, not to allow Pentela through as well, but it's very interesting. Let's see if Lucchese can defend. He's got 6/10 now down there to Wojtek. And with only 7.5 minutes to go, Lucchese does have the minerals, as they head to Racco Minerali, to keep him behind for sure, put on a bit of a defensive display. And Luke Lucchese could win what I believe will be his first win of the season. This battle still raging on. Hussein not giving his teammate much breathing room, even though they voluntarily swapped positions. Nevan Charney also thinking about this. He might see this confusion between teammates and try to capitalise on it. Through Minerali for the 7th time tonight. Howarth is close to Lumsden there. As you can see, he's putting him under some pressure. Let's just cut to that. And again, I would think, does Howarth have the pace? A 1:56.9 was his last lap. 3:10 slower, actually, than Lumsden ahead. So nothing incredible at the moment by the championship leader in the AM class. And Lucchese under pressure, as we would expect from Wojtek. Let's ride on with these guys momentarily. Most of those AM guys just crossing the line as the race leaders exit into the probably the 3rd sector by iRacing standards, but into the 2nd sector by Formula 1 standards. Oh, and Howarth. Has Howarth just got past Weir and Lumsden? Yes, he has. Let's see how that happened. Defends the inside. Oh, and it's off. Oh, no. Contact. That's Lumsden, who slapped the sausage curb. And then the understeered into Howarth, who displaced him ever so slightly, but he's actually done well, Howarth, there, to keep that on the road. And Weir also got himself up amongst that melee. So Lucchese has 5 minutes here to cross the line first. There's only a couple of laps. It will probably be 3 laps. And it will be all said and done. But Wojtek putting him under all sorts of pressure. Let's ride on board and see the closing distance. Is he gaining? Not quite. Ever so slightly, the timings are coming down. Gaining on him under braking, but a slight loss of traction on the entry and a loss of traction on the exit actually for Lucchese, so both exchanging throughout the first chicane. Slightly closer now, Wojtek, he's got the upper hand through the 2-3-4 of Tamburello. How about the second chicane? This time it's Villeneuve. Oh, and both of them are unsteady through there, really pushing here and fighting the cars. Now through Tosa. And Howarth is in the pit lane. Howarth and Weir must have come together. That's 2 teammates, I think, who may have come together. So, disaster for the championship leader. I wonder if that was a drive-through. Look at this though. Wojtek all over the back of him. Lucchese defending the inside line. He's not going to give that one up easily. And Wojtek looks to get the switch back, carry the speed. They've made contact, but that's okay. If anything, that will benefit Lucchese, as that will have offset the run of Silidovic. Now down toward Verazza. Hoyland closing in on Kirby and Rubino on Lumsden down there in the AM class, but so far not too many tighter battles than the one for the race lead. 3 minutes to go then as they come around the final corner once again. Lucchese leading Silidovic, a 2-second gap to Pentela, and then it's James Holman who's equally putting him under pressure for the final place on the pro podium. Let's see if this is telling it all about what happened to Weir and Howarth. Lumsden, it's a late send. He gets the move done nicely there, actually. Weir backs out, and then does Weir just come into the pit lane here? Let's see. He does. That must be a drive-through. That can only be a drive-through for both him and Howarth. Oh, very, very close there on the entrance to Tozer. Nearly bump drafting each other. Oh, Lucchese this time. It's his turn for a slowdown. The position has been returned in the exact same way as we saw a few laps prior. And that effort, only 2 minutes to go for Lucchese. Time is running out and Wojtek re-inherits the lead in the exact same fashion that he lost it just 2 or 3 laps earlier. And Sutherland under pressure now. Or putting Aston, sorry, under pressure. Out of class battle here. Aston would be wise to let him go, but no. Sutherland dropping back into the slipstream. 16 seconds from Aston to Collar. What a drive so far for Robin Aston for Suma GP2 Hyundai. Doing also well. And no, look what's happened here. Look what's happened here. Pentilla and Holman both past Lucchese. I cut away at the wrong time. Let's see what happened. Lucchese heading into the Alta. Oh, he's very slow. Very, very slow. I'm not sure what that's about. And was he fighting there, Luke? Is he fighting Pentilla? Let's see that from the gyro cam, because it looked as though Luke was braking there very early. Does he have a slowdown? And then he blocks the track. And then, oh, and then it's an understeer, and he does turn in. Interesting there by Lucchese. I'm not sure what the cause of that was. As we head on to the final lap then, all of a sudden, Wojtek, clear as day, nearly 4 seconds down to Holman. And then in that melee, was it that Holman got past Pentilla? Yes, he did. Let's see how he did that. Must have been on the exit. Oh, of course, on the exit of the Aquaman Rally section as these two came together. He just says, "Thank you very much, gentlemen," and I will slip up the inside. And he now takes P2, having been in P4 for the majority of the race. There's also a drama for Saunders and Rubino. I think I've selected the wrong camera angle here, but let's see. Rubino in the tyre barrier. And Saunders slowing down nicely. The yellows there, fair enough. Good for him. And Pentilla has just taken P2. Is this another slowdown coming out of Tosa? Yes, it is. It's another slowdown, which Holman nearly gets rid of at the right time. But he's unable to. Anyway, big change to the order then as the leaders exit the Aquaman Rally section for the final time this race. Proctor is in the pit lane. He's gone off the track. Svidovic is now exiting the Variante Alta for the final time. Let's take a look at the full order. So Robin Aston just about to miss out on that reverse grid position, which probably does well for the remainder of the evening. We wouldn't want him with a 16-second gap and pole position. But Rob Sutherland, as things stand, will start up there on the front row of the grid. Normal service resumes somewhat. Wojtek Svidovic makes up for that poor P10 performance that he got in the final round last week, and he squirms across the line to take home a first victory here tonight at the Imola circuit. Closely followed by an absolute frenzy there at the end. Matthias Pentilla getting himself up on the podium in P2 and James Holman in P3. And it's going to be Robin Aston who comes across the line next. He's going to win for the AM class, an absolutely dominating performance. Best part of 20 seconds clear of the next driver in class. Robin Aston wins it for the AMs as he crosses the line. James Bostock next. He's keeping his championship in a good position. P2 in the championship, P2 in the opening round. It's Bostock who finishes on the podium, and Max Nevinsharny in behind him. A flash of the headlights to secure yet another podium for Nevinsharny, which means what happened to Collar again? Collar must have had an incident at some point. He was in P2 for a moment and then finished in P4. Not the worst. A run toward the line for Howarth and Smith. Howarth holds on to him by only 48 one-thousandths of a second. Mark Wesley next, and then it's going to be Ryan Otton's, Danny Weir, and Yayan, who is slowly making his way through the final chicane. He'll head down through Ravazza very shortly, and then we'll do what we can to summarise the finishing order ahead of the reverse top 10 second round here at the Autodrome Dino Ferrari. Something like that. Is it Dino E Ferrari? I'm not sure. So, let's take a look then at the Heat 1 results while we can. Wojtek Suridovic, once again, the 180 machine for Semper Racing, taking that P1. Matthias Penteler coming home in P2 with James Holman rounding off the podium. Lucchesi, Furi, the top 5. With Duncan Kirby, Matt Hoyland, Jimmy Vyman, Jeremy Choker and Rob Sutherland, the top 10. Carl Jacquelet and Ryan Ottens in P11 and 12 with Jan Stitchbury and Mark Proctor, the top 14 in the Pro class. And as for the arms, an absolute dominating performance, nearly 15 seconds separating Aston from Bostock to Nevenshine in the podium. Dennis Collar, Oliver Lumsden, Daniel Saunders, James Howarth, Rob Smith, Mark Wesley and Hussein Sarakadez the top 10, with Danny Weir in P11 and Steve Rubino unable to finish the race down there, 2 laps down in the top 12 for the AM class. And in a rare turn of events, we are able to join the front of the grid just in time as Sutherland looks for the lights. He's got 2 G League cars behind him. He's got Hoyland and Kirby, and it looks like Hoyland and Kirby have got the better of the 2 G League drivers. Sutherland has done well to get away. It's going to be Hoyland around the outside. Kirby's also chosen the outside line. It's going to be the 2 G League cars with Luke Lucchesi up the inside. Around the outside goes Hoyland. Great move for him, who comes back across on the inside line. Hoyland did very well there to pick up that position, and Kirby's been spun around perhaps by Johan Furi or Luke Lucchesi. Don't want to cast judgment too soon, but they were right next to him when that happened. So then it's Sutherland leads Hoyland. Ooh, he's just gone around the outside there. They've just made it through the 2 G League cars. Let's bring up the position. It's Sutherland leading Choker, leading Hoyland, who's battling and lost that position in P2. Then Vyman, Furi, Lucchesi and Holman as they exit the first sector for the first time this evening. Let's take a look at the early positions gained. Let's see if anyone has been able to capitalise. Duncan Kirby will cut back to what happened to him. He's down 13 places. And Wojtek, great start for him from P10 straight up into P8. We're all exiting through the chicane nicely, single file mostly. Here comes Johan Furi as they all come bumping and tumbling over that inside curb. And Furi did run a little bit wide there, but he's kept it in order. So Sutherland leads them across the line, and in that opening frenzy he gets himself 1.6 seconds clear. Wesley Lumsden's had a problem. He's okay. He's got Ottens and Kirby for company in the Pro class, so it would be probably wise to let them get on with their race and not to hold him up. Let's see how he handles turns 2, 3 and 4. Ottens up the inside, as we might have expected. Just about get it slowed down. Kirby can't get himself through though, so Ottens has a little bit of breathing room. Kirby does have the run though, and he's going to swing to the inside line as they head through the next Villeneuve chicane. And Kirby there gets himself up. Minimal time lost there by Lumsden. Look at this pack. Holy. Comes out wide there. Does Furi. And who's that round? Wojtek has just put Holman in the wall, I think. Big incident there. What's gone on? Holman's round, and I think someone else has come round. Oliver Lumsden's had an incident. Let's see what happened there. The first Significant crash of the evening. Cuts his teammate back to the outside. 3. It's flatline on flatline. Flatline on flatline with the third flatline there. Jinking and darting in behind. That wouldn't put them off very well. Yeah, and Lumsden has just cut across his teammate there, who had the right to move around the outside. I want to go back and see what happened to Duncan. Here it is, I think. Let's see. On the inside. Oh, and does he just turn across the face of one of the G League cars? I think so. And it was Holman who was off the track as well. See this one, it's Pentala on Holman. 3 wide. Wojtek had nowhere to go. The room wasn't left. As you go 3 wide, and then we hear the flatline follow up. So Vyman leads. Sutherland has also had a problem. Vyman, Furi, Chioka and Pentala. And Luke Lucchese plummeting down the order. Something's gone very, very wrong for Lucchese. Let's see, G League on the outside. Oh, and he's straight in the barrier. And that's massive, massive damage. That car will need some repairs. Johan Furi there, very, very wide as they battle for the overall race lead. Very tight, and if he can get this stuck, what a move it will be. They leave each other the room. Great racing by the pair of them. Vyman and Furi going wheel to wheel through the majority of the Aqua Minerale section, something that we don't often see. Wojtek is down a position. He's had a bit of a problem. Oh, and there's contact big coming together there between the two of these guys. Sutherland has crashed and he's gone to the pit lane. That's his race over, and Wojtek is also around. He's plummeting down the order. So huge moment here for the championship, with Pentala up 6 places currently in P3. Let's jump back to see what happened to Sutherland. He looks like he's on his own. He's got damage. He goes off the track. Yeah, he's picked up damage from earlier on, and I think that might be somewhere around here perhaps. Let's see. Where is he? I'm not sure. Oh, he's gone off there and spun at Tosa. And then what happened with Svidovic? It's Rob Smith and Svidovic. Svidovic, does he also have damage? Yes, he's just gone off at the Aqua Minerale. Rejoined. He must have damage because he's looking like he's understeering there. Wojtek wouldn't rejoin like that, I don't think, unless he was suffering from understeer. That opens the door then big time for another race winner. And at the moment, that is over to Johan Furi. Let's take a look at the AM class. Robin Aston still leading the way, but with less of a margin than he had this time last race, only 1.8 seconds. Down there to Howarth, who will be pleased to find himself back fighting toward the front of his class. Ryan Ottens has displaced Carl, or P5 in class. And Hoyland under, putting pressure on Robin Aston, currently leading the way in the AM class. Robin would be wise not to cost himself too much time with Howarth there just going out of picture. He will be fighting for class lead very shortly, and Hoyland does dispatch him quite easily there. And gets some free air ahead of him to try and chase after Duncan Kirby. 2 seconds the gap at the moment. There's Howarth, who is chasing down the race leader currently, but he's got Nevin Charney for company. And is it a slowdown here for Howarth? Yes, it is. A massive slowdown. He had to put on the brakes. That's Howarth down the order. Danny Weir's going to be coming through in no time. There he is. He's now past him. And then it's going to be Hussein and then Steve. And surely that's going to be it now. Surely not Dennis as well. James Howarth goes from P3 or P2 even down to P7. So we were just bigging him up for getting himself in a strong position. And those slowdowns and the off tracks around here are absolutely brutal. And that is a prime example of just that. Furry extending, and that's Pentala up the inside of Vyman. Rooms left, good driving. As he to the Piratella. And that's Pentala up into second place. Just about to cross over the half race distance. Pentala is not actually that much quicker at the moment than Furry. He is quicker than Vyman. But Chioka and Johan Furry currently the fastest men toward the top of the pro standings. Oh no, Nevan Charney's round. Nevan Charney's had enough through Aqua Minerale. Let's see what happened. Is it contact? Yeah, irons him there behind him. Gets up on the grass, loses the rear, spins himself around. Unfortunate for Max there. He's now lost out on that podium. And these guys were doing well to put Robin under pressure, but now he's got a 6-second lead again, so I'm sure he will convert a second race win, unless of course he gets himself a slowdown, which is always feasible. And Danny Weir, I'm not sure if Danny's had himself a podium yet, so he will be keen there. Ryan Ottens, look at that, a 54 flat, fastest man on track, and he will be soon putting Jeremy Chioka under pressure, who is also putting his teammate under pressure. The battle for P2 could be very tasty by the time we reach the final few laps. And I thought that might have happened there. That's Mark Proctor straight in the back of Steve Rubino. And I wonder if we look at this from the gyro cam. Let's see. Does he just brake slightly earlier than you would expect him to? Let's see. No, plenty of a gap. Yeah, he doesn't get it slowed down. And Mark realizes, in fairness to him, he realizes pretty much instantly that he's not getting that car slowed down. Does his best to take avoiding action, but unfortunately too late. Contact, massive shunt there in the rear. And that's Mark, who's out of the race, back in the pit lane, and Steve, who will do his best to continue. Danny Weir has been taken by Hussein Sadaka Desla for P3 in class. And James Howarth there immediately back in within contention at a podium. Huss under all sorts of pressure from the two DXT, one Honda, one Audi. There'll be no team orders between Howarth and Weir, I would imagine, unless Weir fancies giving Howarth some more points. And we've got Dennis Collar for company as well. Very, very dramatic here. Final 8.5 minutes to determine the podium. Looks as though Aston and Smith have more or less checked out. Let's quickly go back and see what happened with Huss. Getting past Danny, moves to the inside at the Villeneuve chicane. Danny sees him coming. Huss brakes late. Danny doesn't look to hang it around the outside. He thought about it momentarily, but Huss takes that position. However, then Danny did get Huss back up the run toward Piratella. I wonder if that was a slowdown, or maybe he just got a poor run out of Tosa. And is this around the outside? No, he just temporarily gets the position and then can't hang on to it. Oh, and the two G-League cars going side by side through Tosa. Room just about afford, and Otten's there, nearly going through the back of the 129 machine with Jimmy Vyman, who's down 2 places, and now he's got Kirby for company. Great battle here again for the final podium place in both classes. Up for grabs, 7.5 minutes to go. Kirby has got the pace at the moment, and Pentala has got himself in a comfortable position, 2.5 seconds clear. Might be able to mount a late charge for the race win, but I'd be surprised. It's probably going to be a Hanford's day as things stand. Duncan really thinking about this. Stays where he is for now. Holman out of class at the moment, so these positions that he's gaining don't mean much, and he's going to look to go around the outside at Ravazza. And Collar says, after you, mate. No need for me to waste time battling somebody out of his class. Let's rejoin this battle for the final podium position. As things stand, it's Ottens leading Chioka, leading Vyman, then Kirby. And as we say every week, one mistake or one lunge by any driver can really offset the whole thing, and you could end up seeing all these guys sharing the same width of tarmac. Howarth has got past Danny Weir, but again, out of class, nothing to be gained or lost there. Danny's actually fought straight back and taken that position. Hoyland, that we saw in the back of our picture, has taken Carl Jacquelet. Shouldn't laugh about that really, but it's funny. And these two going toe to toe, swapping positions, and then some. Wesley momentarily off the circuit as well. And Holman and Weir still going toe to toe. Weir doesn't fancy giving up that position, even though it's not a battle for class, and Holman is about to get past. In fact, he has got past. Who's that ahead? Howarth and Hussein. Hussein then moves himself back up onto the podium. 5 minutes to go. Tight-knit battles all up and down the grid. Pentala now within 1 second of Fihan Furi, so that could change hands as well. So a battle for the race lead and a battle for the podium between what is the best part of 6 drivers, and then a battle between 4 drivers for the final place in the AM class podium. That lonesome Holman, the 105 machine there for RD Sim Sports, out of class, so he's not involved with this battle for the podium, but he's right in the mixer. Here's Pentala, who's got his eyes set on that race victory, closing in. Keeping an eye on the timings for Howarth, who's about to make a move. Let's see it. No, he's not. The timing sheet shot down from 4/10 to 1. And Holman, no, Holman's getting in the way a little bit. I mean, all's fair on a multi-class grid. You can't really complain, but that's not what Howarth wants to see. Is he going to send it? No, he's not. And am I hearing another car around the outside? Thinking about it is Danny Weir. But Hussein, at the moment, doing enough to hang on to that podium. Let's rejoin with Pentala as the to the Variante Alta. It's only going to be a couple more times. Oh, that looked rough there by Furi. He's kept it okay, actually. Maybe it wasn't so bad. Getting down now again toward the closing stages before the final feature race. Pentala as close as he's been all night to a race victory. Howarth still within a half a second of Sadaka Desla, but he's still got the car of Holman separating him and keeping him off the podium. That could get feisty toward the end of the race. Kirby has been taken by Ottens, I believe, there. Or was that perhaps Chioka and Kirby swapping places? I'm not sure. It was Kirby and Chioka swapping places. And currently then, as things stand, it's going to be Danny Weir who takes the reverse grid pole position with 1.5 minutes to go. Slightly deep by Ferrari. That would have offset his run ever so slightly, but it's not going to be enough for Pentela to think about a move into the chicane. Differing lines there into Ravazza by both drivers. Ferrari slightly wider, slightly later. Pentela cutting across the track and taking the entry curb. Dennis Coller's got past Danny Weir, so that will demote him down into P16. That's a very interesting battle to keep our eyes on, because Danny will not want to give that one up. Let's cut to that quickly. That was through the Alta section, actually, so that could have been a very, very nice move. Let's quickly watch that before things come to a head. He's got 2 DXT cars in front of him, does Coller. Howarth goes through. Past Weir, and Coller up the inside to the chicane, does very well. Gets himself up crucially into that top 15 for the reverse grid. And Hussein, he's got to slow down, I think. He's very slow. And that promotes James Howarth onto the podium. But this is getting very, very feisty. Everyone darting left and right. It's the final lap. Oh, what's happened to Huss there? He stopped in a very bad... Oh my god, I thought his teammate was going to come around the corner there and just clear him up. Let's quickly go back and see what happened there, because it looked as though they'd have stopped. Huss just stopped. And he's reset back to the pit lane. Not entirely sure what that was all about. Anyway, so that's James Howarth up onto the podium. But he's got Dennis Coller and Danny Weir for company for sure. Johan Ferrari, is he going to defend? Look at this. Pentela as close and closer as he's been all night. He's got probably 2 more braking zones. So think about a move and he's going to go for it, is he? No, he's not. He thought about it, putting Ferrari under all sorts of pressure. He'll be all up in his mirrors. And he's got the run. Yes, he has got the run, I think, here. No, he hasn't. Not as good as I thought it was. Let's see then. Are we going to have a climactic finish, or is Johan Ferrari going to cross the line to win what again could be his first race win? It's all about the exit here. It's quite a long run toward the line. Kicked up a little bit of gravel there, did Johan, but is it going to be enough? He's going to defend the inside line and force Matthias around the outside. It's not going to be enough. There we have it then. Very, very tight. Only a tenth between them. It's Johan Ferrari, Matthias Pentela, and then Ryan Ottens comes across the line. Robin Aston is coming around the final corner now. He is going to win in the AM class, but it's all eyes on Howarth, who's currently holding off Coller just enough. Aston wins. It's going to be Rob Smith in second. And then we can cut to the podium. Let's see. Dennis Coller is going to come across the line in P4. James Howarth recovers well after that unfortunate slowdown to come home in P3. What a finish. Matthias only a tenth away, and Coller less than half a second away from getting himself on the podium. I'm really interested what happened with Huss there. I hope he didn't think the race was over, because he stopped just as he crossed the line almost immediately. Maybe he picked up incident points for a drive-through and just thought, ah, sack this, that's me done. And once we're done and we have the constellation results, we can run over that and also the final grid for the feature race tonight. So, the Pro class standings then. The South African 104 machine. Oh, hang on. There we go. Johan Ferrari comes across the line. This is less than a tenth of a second. That's slightly different to the timing sheet. But Matthias Pentela, the 112 machine for RD Simsports in P2. Ryan Ottens with a strong result for Alpha 1 Esports, rounding off the podium. Duncan Kirby for Steel River Sims in P4, with Jeremy Chioka in P5. Closely followed by his teammate Jimmy Vyman in P6. Matt Hoyland in 7th, a strong result for Matt. Carl in P8, Yayan in P9, and James Holman rounding off the top 10. Luke Lucchese, after a disastrous opening couple of laps, finds himself finishing in P11 with Wojtek Swiatovic down there in P12. He will be right toward the front of the grid, I'm sure. Mark Proctor and Rob Sutherland unable to finish the race. As for the M-Class, Robin Aston converts his second race win of the evening. I wonder then if he is going to be able to take that title away from his teammate in the Honda team of James Bostock, who won all 3 rounds of Brands Hatch. No one's been able to do it since. So is Aston going to be able to convert? Let's keep our eyes on that. Rob Smith, Flatline Racing in P2, and James Howarth getting himself back up on the podium after losing a handful of positions through a slowdown. Dennis Collar and Danny Weir, the top 5. Good results for both of those guys. James Bostock in P6. Max Nevincharny in 7th. Daniel Saunders in P8 with Mark Wesley in P9. Steve Rubino down there in 10th after damage with Mark Proctor earlier on. Oliver Lumsden in P11. And Hussein Sarkadesla unable to finish the race 1 lap down in P12. And then let's take a look at the overall standings. So it is going to be Danny Weir who starts the race on the front row of the grid. He will share that with Dennis Collar. The second row of the grid will be James Howarth and James Holman, with the third of Yayan and Rob Smith. The fourth with Robin Aston and Carl Jacquelet. And the fifth with Holman and Jimmy Vyman. The sixth row will be shared by Jeremy Chioka and Duncan Kirby, with the seventh row. Sorry, I've lost count there. Ryan Ottens and Pentela. And then Johan Ferry will share his role with James Bostock, who was just shy of 4 seconds away from taking Danny, but was never really in the running for that. So great news for Weir, Collar, Howarth, Smith and Aston, who will have their share of the top 5. And that really does put Robin Aston in a good place to only have to get past a handful of competitors to get himself back at the front row of the grid. His pace has been right up there. Wojtek Swiatovic and Lucchese, though, missing out on that reverse grid switch. So they are going to have their work cut out for them if they want to get a positive result in this final race. So we've got just under 2 minutes to go. As always, I'm going to take a quick break and resume just ahead of the feature race here around the Imola circuit. Okie dokie then. So the warm-up has concluded. Just a couple of drivers out on track, Wesley and Mark Proctor. In fact, just the two Marks decided to get themselves some laps under their belts ahead of the feature race, which should be an exciting one. It's advantage Aston and Howarth, I would say. Howarth really in a good place to convert that race victory. It would be pretty cool to see another driver get a hat-trick of race wins, but it would be equally as cool just for one driver to manage that throughout the whole season. And as I said earlier, that's currently in the hands of James Bostock, who's down there in P16, missing out on the reverse grid. But not to worry too much. Dennis Collar, eager, and Danny Weir just staying out of the grid slot for the time being. And there he is. He joins us. There's a little blimp there. Is that Hoyland perhaps going a little bit crazy? It's going to be Weir, Collar, Howarth, Holman and Stitchbury, the top 5. And let's see. As we have the lights for the final time tonight here around Imola. We need 5 of them before Weir can get us underway. And we are go. And it's a pretty good start there. Who's that? It's a great start by James Howarth. Oh, and there's already a Suma car round, and that's going to cause chaos further down there toward the back of the pack. Is everyone getting through okay? We've got a flatline car next to Steve Rubino, forcing him back across the circuit. That's Mark Proctor, Matt Hoyland's down the order, Lucchese and Penteler are down. I think there's been another collision somewhere further up the track. Bostock and Penteler both off the track. Danny Weir holding on to what he's got, and James Holman also with a great start. Those two guys leading their class at the moment. There's a slow flatline car who's come back across, and the 2 G-League drivers there. Oh no! Holman and Weir both off the circuit, both the race leaders losing out. And Yain Stitchbury, but he takes the lead of the race. James Howarth still in there actually. Who was it that I saw go off track? Danny Weir, oh yeah, of course. Danny Weir's off the track, the DXT car. James Howarth with a slowdown. Oh, and there's going to be contact there with the G-League and Kirby around the outside. It's nearly 3 wide. And Kirby, is he going to... No, surely not. No, nobody send it now, please. I kind of want to stay in this blimp cam because it's all sorts of chaos. Yep, that was coming. A slip by the G-League, and then Ottens piles Kirby round. Slow moving there by Howarth, who's dropping down a whole bucket load of positions. But all good for this man. Yain Stitchbury, who's stretching his legs, nearly 2 seconds clear of Dennis Collar, who leads the AM class. So everything that I said at the start, that's been undone. No luck for Howarth, and no luck for Holman. And an absolute crazy start to the feature race. And let's take a look at the positions gained. It's up 10 for Furi, 8 for Chioka, 6 for Vyman. Great for the G-League drivers. 4 for Yain, down 16 for Weir, 11 for Kirby, and 18 for Robin Aston. That's going to be a hell of a lot to unfold. I'm trying to think who will it have been who got spun round right at the start. Robin Aston, it was the guy who was spun round at the start. Let's see what happened. Off the line, the drivers get away. Oh, and that's Carl, who comes immediately. Oh, is that Hoyland? Yeah, I think Hoyland got a little bit trigger happy trying to go up the inside of those cars. Carl came back over to the left as Robin tried to come over to the right. And it was just that scissor effect where 3 into 1 doesn't work, fellas. Oh, and someone's off. Someone's had a big off in the background there. We just heard that happen. I'm not sure who that was. Bostock and Penteler were off the circuit. Let's just cut back to this. That's those guys there at the back. Bostock sends it deep around the outside. Penteler comes off and doesn't leave in the room. And that's what happens. Bostock was entitled there to brake late and go down the outside. Let's just see that one more time from the gyro. Mateus covers the inside line, leaves the space for Bostock nicely. And then all of a sudden the door is closed. And that's them two off the track. Saw what happened to Duncan as it got a bit messy in the Aqua Minerale exit. Mark Proctor's gone off the track. Duncan Kirby's had another crash here. Let's see what happened here to Duncan. Oh, wow. Jesus, that happened quick. I was not ready for that. What happened there? No. There we go. Oh, it's flatline, I think. Dear me. Not sure who that is. James Holman, possibly? Yeah, I'm not sure. Wow, big impact there for Kirby. So his night has gone from bad to worse. But this man, nearly a 3-second gap. Jan Stitchburg leads. Jeremy Choker leads Jimmy Vyman for the top 3 in the Pro Class. Robin Aston, as we predicted, back into the front runnings as James Howarth now in the pit lane. His night has not been great, but he got himself back up in the consolation race. But now back out of the running in the feature. Danny Weir has had an incident as well. We'll cut to that momentarily, but for the moment, we need to watch on with some of the racing action going on the circuit with Robin Aston. Don't want to jinx him too soon, but he could be on for a hat-trick here if he can keep it on the road. Rob Sutherland is looking to go up the inside of Hussein Sarakadesla, but does back out in the end. That's Hoyland close to Sutherland. And a good battle here between Furry, Collar, Lucchese and Ottens. Very close by Collar there. Doesn't want to get himself into any more bother. Lucchese might just about have the run here. Let's see. Is he going to go up the inside of Collar? I think he will. Yes, he will. And Lucchese, lovely move there through the chicane. Gets himself up one place. It's an out-of-class battle there as Dennis Collar leads the race. What's happened to Robin Aston? Where's Robin Aston gone? I'm missing something here. I'm not seeing anything to do with Robin Aston on the timing sheets. And he was just there a moment ago, wasn't he? So where is Robin now then? What's happened to him? That's very strange. I don't see anything to do with Robin, but there you go. Somewhat of a commentator's curse, I guess you could say, because I said it and now he's not there anymore. So Dennis Collar then leads Rob Smith, who leads Hussein Sadakaresla. Max Levin shining down there in P4. And it's Vyman, Lucchese. Lucchese could be on for a move here. He's going to switch back to the inside at Tosa. Is he going to stick a wheel up the inside? No, he's not. Jimmy Vyman holds on to that place. Johan Furry up ahead. And Ryan Otten's in behind. These sprints proving to be pretty much the perfect format, I think, for these cars. It's just enough to get a few good opening laps in, and then before you know it, you're at the halfway point already. And that sort of final stint frenzy happens where people start getting a little bit desperate for positions. Off the track there goes Vyman. And that might invite both Lucchese and Ottens to the inside line. Definitely Lucchese. Is he going to send him? Yes, he is. Lucchese just about has the overlap. Room has been left. Very difficult to get two cars side by side through the chicane, but Lucchese's managed to carry the speed, as has Ottens, which you might expect. Ottens was in prime position there, and here's Wojtek watching on this battle unfold ahead. Lucchese gets himself ahead. Ottens might well get himself ahead of Vyman, which he has, and all of a sudden, look at the time that Sudidovic gained there. A slight delay coming through the Ravazza has all of a sudden invited the championship leader right back into this pack, and before he knows it, he could be up in P4. Wojtek looking at the inside of Vyman. And he's got the run on Vyman, and he's got the inside line. Vyman can't do anything to defend because Ottens is in front of him. Got some great quality drivers in this pack. I'd like to think they'll all keep it clean. Hussein is down. Why can't I see him? He's perhaps got to slow down. Let's go back to this battle. Mark Proctor is in the pit lane. And Howarth down there under blue flag. So that's his race over. He will be unlikely to finish inside the top 10. Vyman off. Sudidovic giving him the room to rejoin. And then we've got the AM leader in behind these guys, which is Dennis Collar. He finds himself in P8 overall. Guyan still doing everything he needs to do. 3 seconds to Chioka, who has 3 seconds to Furi. So it's just Johan Furi under pressure from the 2 South African drivers of Lucchese and Ottens. Three of the 5 top pros currently South African. I was going to call them the gang. I guess they're all chilling in the same Discord server. And Charney and Soraka Desla crossing the line side by side. 2 turns 2, 3, 4. Hus does get that place. Moves himself up into P3 in class. So, Dennis Collar, I don't think has a podium to his name this year. Never mind a race win. And he's got a 3.2 second gap at the moment, but he's in the mix between that battle of Wojtek and Vyman. So you ought to be very careful not to get caught up in their races. I guess I could say their battles. Right on with Yayan. He's got free air in front of him, doing very well up and over the curbs. Guy with a 54.1 to Chioka's 54.5 on the last lap, so extending that margin by 3 or 4 tenths on that last lap. Crosses the line to start his 7th lap. There's only 8.5 minutes to go. Rob Sutherland in behind there, right behind Rob Smith. And that's an out-of-class battle. This is currently P2 we're watching in the AM class. And Rob Sutherland in P9 in the Pro class behind the AM driver of Smith. Also followed by Hoyland and Pentler. Ottens and Svidovic the closest on track at the minute. And Lucchese putting pressure on Furi. It's a good run there by Svidovic. Ottens comes over to defend the inside line. Nevin Charney's had an incident. He's been passed by Lumsden and Bostock. But he's got a huge 20-second gap, which is to coming down now 17. But if Max can get it going, he'll be able to hang on to P6. Let's take a look at that incident. Up the inside of Huss, who comes across and turns in on him. Let's just see if Max had much more room on the inside. No, he doesn't. And Huss, unaware. Lumsden and Bostock now battling as well. Let's see. That's Bostock through and passed on Lumsden. They went toe to toe as they exited the Variante Alta. Bostock around the outside. And let's watch on, I think, because Oliver does get himself ahead But then Bostock ahead before the braking zone. Oliver, just think about it. Look at that, but he goes very, very deep, I would guess. Yep. Very, very optimistic send, and Bostock waves him goodbye and sets away on the next lap. Was that a mistake? No, I thought Faria just lost the rear right there, but he didn't. Still keeping it in the right direction. 5.5 minutes to go before we conclude for the night, and anything could happen here for the podium. Lumsden has got back past Bostock. Let's see how that's going as they go side by side now. Heading down toward Aqua Minerale. Is Bostock going to back out? He's absolutely not. He's going to go up the inside. At turn 11, get it slowed down, and Lumsden. Yeah, good move by Bostock. Taking that position once again. And Lucchese just biding his time. Could be now though. Could well be now. Let's watch on. How is Footy going to defend turn 2, 3 and 4? Defends the inside line. Forces Luke to the outside. Luke will be able to brake slightly later. We might see Footy just disappear momentarily. No, he's there and he's holding it, and Luke can't get the job done. That might invite Ottens in behind to get the run on Lucchese, and Suridovic to get the run on all four of them potentially. No one thinking about a move through the Villeneuve chicane. Wojtek, you can just see he's opening up that entry to get a good exit. Moves to the outside line, brakes late. Looks, oh, the rotation there was very good under the brakes. But he had Ottens on the inside, so he couldn't quite swing the car back across the circuit. Smith, Sutherland, Hoyland very close together. Saunders about to get a move done on Mark Wesley, but we don't want to cut away from this pro action. Saunders does get that move done, and Mark Wesley goes off the circuit in doing so. Rob Smith, all of a sudden, all over the back of Dennis Collar, and he's got a train of cars behind him who are all pros. They've got 3 pro drivers battling, and then ahead of them is the battle for the AM race lead. Fingers crossed that Sutherland, Hoyland and Penteler keep it clean in behind and don't turn the race for the AM class into somewhat of a bowling alley. Half minutes to go. Smith will be really thinking about this. In fact, has he got the run? Not quite, but it may force a defence by Collar to move to the left-hand side of the track. Let's see. He will have the run. Is he going to get through here before the braking zone? It's going to be very close. He's just got past. And Collar does stick it. Room's been left. Great driving by the pair of them. And Collar holds on to that race lead for the time being. Sutherland being invited into this out of class. The worst thing for Smith at the moment, now he backs out nicely. The worst thing for Smith is to get these pro drivers in between him and Collar for the race win. I wonder if these guys behind know that they're battling for the win. That's a slowdown for Hoyland, who will now drop out of that running, down in P11 in class. Ryan still sitting pretty at the top. He'll be on one of his final laps very shortly. However, the same cannot be said for Johan Feri. P2, P3, all still very much up for grabs. And just one slight mistake can cost these guys dearly. And at the moment, it's all the pressure on the shoulders of the number 104. The Black Monster liveried Johan Feri. Oh, he turns in very early there. Is that going to offset him a little bit? Lucchese could have another run here. Could have another chance to look around the outside at turn 2. It's the white flag. It is the final lap. And Yayan is 10% of the way there. Lucchese is going to have a look around the outside of Johan Furey. Let's see. Maybe the switchback. Gets to slow down. Yes, Lucchese has got that line right. Ottens is there though, thinking about it. Suridovic has dropped right off the back. This is getting very, very close and all could change very quickly. Look at that, only the top 6 are on the lead lap in the AM class. Danny Weir, Mark Wesley and Robin Aston struggling down there under blue flags. Getting very feisty. Lucchese did have an opportunity going through the Tamburello. He did exactly what he needed to do by slowing it down and keeping it to the left-hand side to slingshot his way through turn 3. And Otten's now having to defend against Swidovic, and they got very close there. Both pairs of cars got very close there. And Lucchese might have the inside line here. It could be the moment. A little bit of door bashing. Lucchese up the inside of Aqua Minerale. Furey hangs it around the outside. There is contact. Oh, and Ottens could have spun him round there. Offset Svidovic. Oh my god, Svidovic could get himself up 2 places here. Yayan, I know where he is. I'm not gonna miss him. Oh god, this is close. Lucchese inherits P2. Svidovic gets up into P4. Is there going to be a last change of the guard into the final braking zone? Keep an eye on it. But speaking of the final braking zone, Yayan, he's about to be done. One last stab on the brakes. And it's full power now. Down around the final corner. Yayan Stitchbury will come across the line. He got himself up on the podium for the first time in Spa. And he gets himself on the top step of the podium in great fashion. 5 seconds clear. Yayan Stitchbury, the feature race winner here at Imola. What a victory for him. Luke Lucchese does well on the final lap to get past Johan Furey, who manages to hold off Wojtek Suridovic, who gets past Ryan Ottens and Dennis Collar. Here comes Collar, so close and behind by Rob Smith, less than 0.3 of a second. Dennis Collar wins his first race for the first time this season, closely followed by Rob Smith. And it's Matt Hoyland, it's Hussein Saraka Desler, who, after a poor race finish in the second race, does manage to convert that podium, which could be his first podium of the season. Here's 2 DXT drivers. It's Mark Wesley and Danny Weir, who are coming around the final corner now. And Robin Aston, the man who could have had the hat-trick, but unfortunately it all went wrong for him right at the start before they even made it to turn 2. He was round and out, and he still brings home some good points. P9 to keep the momentum. But James Bostock is the man with the hat-trick record at the moment. And it's the championship leader who comes around the final set of corners in P10 again. Still bringing home some points, but unfortunate. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Is it going to be enough for Bostock to take the lead of the championship? Probably not. But nice and easy does it, James. Bring it across the line, mate. And that will conclude the racing for tonight, and we'll run through the final finishing order of the feature race. So in the Pro Division then, Yayan Stitchbury with his first win of the season, taking home 50 points for Aura Motorsports. Nearly a 5-second gap to Luke Lucchese in P2 for RDSA Esports. And it's the second South African driver on the podium, Johan Furey for Johan Furey Racing, I would guess that is, in P3. Wojtek Swidovic in P4, Jeremy Chioka in P5, Jimmy Vyman and Carl Jacquelet in P7, with Matthias Penteler, Matt Hoyland and Rob Sutherland the top 10. James Holman, Ryan Ottens in P11 and P12 before Mark Proctor and Duncan Kirby unable to finish. And in the AM class, it's a first victory for Dennis Collar for Spontex CDM Esports, winning by a very tight margin across the line to Rob Smith of Flatline Racing in P2. Hussein Sarakadesla, potentially his first podium of the season, gets himself up in P3 for Suma GP2 Honda. Great results for the drivers currently leading in the team's championship. Oliver Lumsden, and the same can be said for Flatline actually, they're right up there in the top 3, and that's good from Smith and Lumsden in P4. James Bostock, the same can be said for Suma GP2 Honda in P5. Max Nevincharny in P6, with Danny Weir and Robin Aston in P7 and P8 respectively. James Howarth and Mark Wesley under blue flags come the checker, but they round off the top 10, with Daniel Saunders and Steve Rubino unable to finish the race. There is a quick look at the overall standings. Collar and Smith with some great pace to stay ahead of second in the championship, Pentler, Hoyland and Sutherland, and then unfortunate ones for Holman and Ottens. In fact, we missed that for Ottens, so Ottens must have been caught up in something, because he finished way out of the order in the end, and he was part of that battle with Lucchesi for quite some time. So that is going to be everything for now. I'm going to give these guys a couple of minutes to see if anybody fancies jumping in for an interview. In the meantime, let's take a quick look at the calendar for the remainder of the season. We're getting there now. That's Imola complete. Next, we travel back to the US as we head to Road America, and then it's over back to Europe around Germany for the Hockenheim Ring. And then what will be a very, very challenging circuit around the Circuit de Portimao in Portugal for the final round, the 26th of August. Championships will probably be decided then. I'd like to think no one will be 50 points clear by that point in the season. That is going to be it for us then. No interviews tonight. Happy days. Get myself off a little bit sooner. I hope everybody has enjoyed. It's been a good night's racing. Quite, not many incidents tonight, actually. Far fewer than we've seen. A couple of things which I'm sure we'll check back on, but all in all, a very good night's racing around a very, very good circuit. So, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the week. Stay safe out there, and we will see you all back this time next week for Road America.